Hi, everybody. My name's Janine Driver. I'm the celebrity lie detector, your celebrity lie detector, live every Wednesday night on Facebook Live. I go on Wednesday night between 10 and 10:30 p.m. East Coast time. Depends on technical difficulties when I get up and running. But at 10 o'clock, I'm a little before 10, I'm trying to get up and running. And so just know between 10 and 10:30, I'm going to come live. Then I'm going to chunk it into little parts and put it on YouTube. So if you're just finding me, I'm so excited you're here. Be sure to check me out on YouTube. You just type in CLD for Celebrity Lie Detector. And my name is Janine, Janine. Driver, and you'll see all my previous episodes. This is part of episode 6, Jussie Smollett. Just yesterday, the case was dismissed. Oh, disheartening, unbelievable. And then he hits the microphone and he continues to lie. You've got to be kidding me. And then my husband was telling me before he went to bed that some of the actors on the show that he was on, Empire, like, I knew Jussie was telling the truth all along. Are you following? Are you following the case? Because the prosecutors didn't say the guy's not guilty, and they didn't say he didn't do it. It's unbelievable, the injustice that's done here. And you know what? Everyone's writing to me and they're saying different things. And at the end of the day, people are coming and they're saying, don't you think this is a race thing? If this is a white person, you know, the whole world, all the Democrats would be outraged. What are you talking about? All the Democrats are outraged now about this case. It's not just Republicans that are outraged on this case. This is not a black or white thing. This is a power thing. This is a money thing. This is a who do you know thing. I don't think this is a color thing. I don't think this is because he's black and his black connections. I don't think that. This is money. This is power. This is connection. And in law enforcement, we have an expression, Jussie, he must know where the bodies are buried. It means someone that Jussie knows must know something on the judge who sealed these records or on the attorneys. Prosecutor says he does not believe Jussie Smollett is innocent after all charges against the actor are dropped. This was on CNN. They said it, but yet Jussie comes to the mic and says, what? I've been telling the truth all along. I've been telling the truth all along. We've heard that before. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, as Bill Clinton nodded his head. Yes. Right here, let's dive in. Unbelievable. I'm so excited. Chicago Sun-Times says the Illinois Attorney General asked to review integrity of the Smollett case. Everybody's saying we smell a rat. And you know what? This might have worked in the 80s, 90s even, maybe even the early 2000s. But once hashtag Me Too came about and that whole era of millennials and transparency, I think these days are going to be dwindling on if you have political power and political pull of having this type of stuff happen, because I think it's going to unravel for the judge. Most importantly, the most important element for me is, why did the judge seal all the evidence? I think that's incredibly suspicious. It says to me, someone knows a body that the judge has buried. And that expression means, you know, they have dirt on him. They have dirt on him. Something happened, because why lock down all the evidence? You know, this 16 felonies, they were indicted by a group of humans who just saw a tiny little piece of evidence. And if you watch the mayor, I brought a little clip, Rahm Emanuel, he like lit up like a fireworks show, and he couldn't get on enough news outlets to scream and yell. And let me tell you, I love Rahm Emanuel for this. I love that he stood by the police officers. I love that the police stand by their investigation. I love that there are political officials saying, like this Illinois Attorney General asked to review the integrity of the Smollett case. He's not the only one. Look at this. Illinois House Representative Leader Jim Durkin on Wednesday called an Illinois Attorney General Raoul to review the handling of the Jussie Smollett case, saying that the decision to drop all charges sets a dangerous precedent for high-profile cases. Yeah, it does. A former prosecutor himself, Durkin, argued that the surprise move to abandon the prosecution of Smollett raises questions about integrity of the Cook County State's Attorney Office. I have a live-in au pair that helps me with my 3 sons because I travel so much. Her name's Valentina, and she's from Italy. And she said, hey, this sounds like something that would happen in Italy. I'm like, my husband goes, yeah, it's Chicago. It's basically like a little Italy over there. Come on. These days, I don't know, Chicago, something's smelling bad over there. And it's too bad, because you get the mayor and you get the police department trying to do the right thing, at least in this case, for sure. As a former Cook County Assistant Attorney General, I am concerned about the integrity of this investigation, the office, Durkin said in a letter emailed to Raul and hand-delivered to his office. This case, quote, this case has shed a negative light onto an office that I had the privilege to work in for many years. For someone to falsify a hate crime and to be left off the hook is not only unfair, but sets a dangerous precedent for high-profile cases. The calls echo that a fraternal order of police, which has demanded a federal investigation to determine whether Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx acted inappropriately when she tried to persuade Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson to transfer the investigation to, with regard to the hate crime, to the FBI. Yeah, if you haven't followed her, hit Google on the connections here, because Michelle Obama's chief of staff got involved with this whole entire thing. What? This is crazy. For me, even if I was Michelle Obama, she may not know anything about it. I know some people are going to write some hate down below on YouTube. It's all right. If you write a lot of hate where I don't like it, all I do is block you from my channel. So instead of writing hate, write something constructive. What I want to say is maybe Michelle didn't know, but the friend tried to pull some strings, because if I were Michelle Obama, I would have stayed away from this Jussie Smollett case with a 100 million foot pole. This is a nasty case. This is terrible. There's enough hate in the world. We don't need someone like this pretending that there's hate crimes. There are tons of hate crimes. Let's focus on the ones that really exist. Let's hear what now city officials speak after Smollett charges are dropped. Here's the head honcho in law enforcement, the lieutenant, superintendent.
So listen, I'm sure we all know what occurred this morning. My personal opinion is that you all know where I stand on this. Do I think justice was served? No. What do I think justice is? I think this city is still owed an apology. And let me digress for a moment. When I came on this job, I've been a cop now for about 31 years. When I came on this job, I came on with my honor, my integrity, and my reputation. If someone accused me of doing anything that would circumvent that, then I would want my day in court, period, to clear my name. I've heard that they wanted their day in court with TV cameras so America could know the truth, but no, they chose to hide behind secrecy and broker a deal to circumvent the judicial system. My job as a police officer is to investigate an incident, gather evidence, gather the facts, and present them to the state's attorney. That's what we did. I stand behind the detective's investigation.
I want you to notice what's happening right here. Do you see what happened? This is the mayor, Rahm Emanuel. So I want you to know him right here when the police superintendent is speaking. He says, "Hey, here's what we did." You see Rahm Emanuel's chin go up here. So this is, it's like he's saying, "You damn right, you damn right." So in the old days when Obama was our president, if you liked him, you're like, he's so confident. And if you didn't like him, you'd be like, I feel like he looks down on us. Well, where you get that move from is you'd often see President Obama with his chin up. And so some people, if you don't like him, if you're a Republican, you'll say he looks his nose down at us, this elitism. And if you like him, he's seen as confident. Listen, I'm an independent, and so I'll weigh the best that I can on either side. And bottom line is, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, one side of the party will say that move is very confident, and the other will say that's arrogant, or that's overly confident, or that's you're looking down the nose. It just, for every single president, it doesn't matter. They're all doing something confident that got them there in the first place. I just wanted to point out, though, how his chin went up. Let's rewind just a smidge and watch it. Do you see where it is now? And watch where it is here. Do you see this difference? Look to the right of your screen. So right here with the mayor, Rahm Emanuel. All right, right here. Where'd it go? Okay. Oh, now we're bouncing over to him. So down, down, up, down, up. Well, now it's really down. All right, let's back it up a smidge. Right there. Look at that. Boom. Listen to what happens. Listen to what the police superintendent says when the mayor puts his chin up.
This is
So listen,
I think on two.
that's what we did. I stand behind the detective's investigation.
Right, I stand behind the detective's investigation.
I'll let Mary Madden comment further.
One thing is not only do I support the hard work of our police officers, the defective unit, I'd like to remind everybody a grand jury indicted this individual based on only a piece of the evidence that the police had collected in that period of time. So a grand jury actually brought the charges. I think on two things I'd like to say, or three things I'd like to say. One, on financial costs, this $10,000 doesn't even come close to what the city spent in resources to actually look over the camera, gather all the data, gather all the information that actually brought the indictment by the grand jury on multiple different charges. Second is what I would call the ethical costs. And the ethical costs is you have, as a person who was in the House of Representatives when we tried to pass the Shepherd legislation that dealt with hate crimes, putting them on the books, that President Obama then signed into law, to then use those very laws and the principles and values behind the Matthew Shepard hate crimes legislation to self-promote your career is a cost that comes to all the individuals, gay men and women, who will come forward and one day say they were a victim of a hate crime who now will be doubted. People of faith, Muslim or any other religious faith, who will be a victim of hate crime. People that of all walks of life and backgrounds, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation. Now this casts a shadow of whether they're telling the truth, and he did this all in the name of self-promotion.
All right, I want to just point out something really quick.
This is a whitewash of justice.
I want to point out something really quick. Do you notice how the mayor, as he's talking to different people, his eyes are moving, his face is moving. In my last segment here on Celebrity Lie Detector Live, if you missed it, go back and check it out, the first part of tonight's segment on Celebrity Lie Detector Live, which is episode 6. So the first chunk of the episode is talked about eye movement. And one of the things I said about eye movement is when we talk, we tend to give less eye contact. When we talk, our eyes tend to move. We're gathering information. This is typical. So we have less eye contact when we're speaking, more eye contact when we're listening. So when someone is talking to us, we tend to give more eye contact here. Now, granted, Rahm Emanuel is talking to many, many people. I want you to pay attention to this. Now, of course, he's a pro at handling the microphone. He didn't become a lifelong politician without handling a microphone. However, with that being said, you'll often see people hit the microphone and they'll just stare in one direction when they're talking. The mayor is letting us all know, he's talking to the world here, that he is not happy with this outcome. And as the mayor, he's going to do what he can to resolve this. So he's looking at all of us. He's including all of us. I'm not going to play this whole entire thing, but I will play a little more.
A grand jury could not have been clearer.
Do I think justice was served? No. What do I think justice is? I think this city is still owed an apology.
All right. So let's go over here. I don't know if you saw this, but the prosecutor who dropped the charges, Smollett, is not innocent. Let's hear what he has to say and check out his body language.
The only reason that it's getting the scrutiny, only reason that it's getting the scrutiny that.
All right, before we go any deeper, I'm not big on head movements. It's not because head movements can send us astray. So, however, with that being said, it's certainly a hot spot. And the reason I say head movements can lead us astray is because we listen to it at about 700, 500 to 700 words a minute. We listen, but we talk about 250 to 300 words a minute. So we talk about this much, but we listen this much. And the reason this matters is because sometimes when someone is shaking their head, it's their internal dialogue. They're having a conversation in their head. So their internal dialogue, it's like if you go to if you've ever gone to a sporting event, you're like, unbelievable. I can't believe they won. It's unbelievable. That was amazing. That was amazing. So someone's saying unbelievable, it's amazing, and they're legit, they're telling the truth, but they're shaking their head no. Well, it's that internal dialogue that's happening here. So with that being said, I find it very interesting. It's certainly a hot spot. The only reason people care about this, and we have this shaking of the head no right here. Now, I don't have a baseline on this guy, so I can't compare this interview to another interview. So let's keep watching. I'm going to rewind.
The only reason that it's getting the scrutiny that it is because of who got the disposition. There are plenty of other cases, like I said, over 5,700 that have gotten some type of alternative or deferred type of prosecution.
A lot of ahs here coming in. And you also heard some quivering in the voice, and the voice went down. So this is suspicious for me. And when we lie, about 85% of us, when we lie, there's a change in the tone and pitch of voice. Either I can try to convince you of something where really it's fear, and my fear or my anxiety is showing up as anger, so I increase my tone. Or like we see in this case, that hits like this nervous, like sadness in here, where it just doesn't belong in there. Do you hear that shaking in his voice? There's another hotspot that's happening here. Also, we had a subtle shoulder shrug, which is uncertainty. So let's back this up again.
It's getting the scrutiny that it is because of who got the disposition. There are plenty of other scrutiny that it is because of who got the it's getting
There's dimpling of the chin, lips are going in a little bit. All right, look at this. Okay. In my last segment, I talked about eye movement. And if you missed it, I invite you to go back. My name's Janine Driver. I'm a celebrity lie detector live every Wednesday night, 10:30 p.m. Well, between 10 and 10:30 p.m. on Facebook, East Coast time. It depends. It's live. So it depends on when I can get everything up and running. It'll be about that time between 10 and 10:30. It'll last for an hour, maybe even an hour and a half. Last week was 2 hours because there was a lot going on in the news. I want to talk about this eye movement that we see. He's looking kind of off to his right here, like right and out. If you are trained in something called neurolinguistic programming, you might believe he's lying if he's a typical right-handed person. When we go to our right, and we always look at NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Neuro's the brain, linguistic is our language, and programming is the map of the world. In the old days, we would say if someone looked upper right, and we always talk NLP by their perspective. See this guy's perspective right here, the attorney, right? So we're looking at his eyes, not mine. So when his eyes go here, I would say his eyes are off to his right. Off to his right. In the old days, we would say, even when I was in law enforcement, they trained me, what he's saying right here is a lie. That is not the case. Scientifically proven, you cannot determine deception simply by eye movement, but you certainly can determine a hotspot, and we're looking for a change in his behavior. So how often does he go to this and gather information to this part of his brain? We'll rewind it again. Tell me, let's count. Let's see. Okay, when he's gathering information, is he going left, left, left? And then all of a sudden he goes right here. This is the one that I would want to ask more information on if I was the person doing the interview. I'm looking for that change in baseline. So let's go through it again.
The only reason.
All right, so do you see this? All right, so now we have down left, down left. So down left in the neurolinguistic programming world is internal dialogue. So this is having a conversation with himself here. He's gathering this information, open up this internal dialogue file or folder. And when I see people doing this, you'll often see them, if you're in a meeting or negotiation, they'll look down left and they're listening to you, and they'll do this. They're running it over in their head. Did you see me here? I'm going to try to make me bigger here. So if you're in a meeting or sales negotiation, or you're talking to a potential vendor, a potential interviewer or interviewee, and you, a prospect, and someone's looking down, they'll tend to go like this. You're talking to them. You're lending them. They're lending you an ear, and you're talking to them, and they're going, They're literally having a conversation in their head. Stop talking. Give them a second, because they may be thinking like, it's like kicking around an idea. They're like, what else could I do? Maybe that'll work. Well, it's not as expensive as I thought. So we have internal dialogue going on right here. Incidentally, I am on Facebook Live. Hey, Bethany Brownholtz. I'm so happy you're here. He is leaking sadness. So I don't know if you can see Bethany right here weighing in on Facebook Live. He is leaking sadness. Not only is he leaking sadness, Bethany, that's where we hear his voice cracking, and that little change of tone and pitch. Absolutely. Let's watch it again. Okay, this is how I analyze the footage. If you're looking for a quick hit, this is not the channel for you. If you're looking to learn so you can start to use this in your personal and professional lives, how to use body language to influence and change behavior, not just yours, but others people, then I'm so happy you're here. My name's Janine Driver. I'm the celebrity lie detector. I'm letting you in on how do I analyze this stuff.
The reason.
So let's go back.
Only reason
All right, internal dialogue, unless he's lefty. Now, if he's lefty, it could be backwards, and some righties could be backwards. So one of two things is certainly happening 100% here, 100% with absolute certainty. He's either having internal dialogue where he's talking to himself, like, what else did I want to say here? Or he's going into emotions. Typically, emotions would be down right for a typical right-handed person, but bottom line is when he's going down left, it's a likely internal dialogue. What else do I want to say here? Or possibly emotions, possibly emotion, nothing else. There's no visual happening here. Nothing visually is happening here. He's literally having a conversation or processing emotion.
That it's getting.
He's shaking his head no. It's loaded with hot spots.
It's getting.
Yeah, that dimpling of the chin. Look at that right there. I freeze framed it. Look at this. Know what emotion that is? Our friend Bethany called it, right? Where'd her comment go? Bethany. Leaking sadness. That's it, Bethany, right there, my dear. So Bethany's saying he's leaking sadness, and Bethany's right here. Sadness and the dimpling of the chin and the downward turn here. We have some furrowed brows here, some stress happening.
The scrutiny that it is.
Okay, shoulder shrug. Do you see that shrug, everybody?
Scrutiny that it is because of who got the disposition. There are plenty of the scrutiny that it is because of who got the disposition.
Shaking his head no. All right, so now he's looking upper left here, right? So again, we go from his perspective. He's looking upper left. So we got an upper left here. If I had paper here, I'd keep a couple tick marks and I'd get where does he normally go to gather information to see where the suspicious part is.
The scrutiny.
All right, he looked really quick all over here. Do you see this? Off to his right, right at the scrutiny.
The scrutiny that it is because of who got the disposition.
Sadness right here too. The inner eyebrows pulled together and up. This is a hard muscle to move. If I asked you to try to do it, like I can't do it. I'm a body language and detecting deception expert. Ready? So I'm going to try to do it. It's very hard to make this sadness eyebrow. Here, when I try to do it, I just look constipated. So I'm not going to try it anymore. Right here, though, sadness once again.
Who got the disposition? There are plenty of other cases, like I said, over 50.
Right down here. Okay. So eyes went down.
Cases, like I said.
You see, like I said, he's looking down. So likely it's either emotions or internal dialogue. If he's right-handed, it's most likely emotions here.
This is, like I said, over 5,700.
And then his eyes squint. Do you see that? Right there. Okay, we're going to talk about that a little next week.
That have gotten some type of alter.
Here's the change in pitch and tone of voice. Okay, I want you to hear this. This is where the sadness comes in. Ready? Listen to this.
That have gotten some type of alternative or deferred type of prosecution. Like I said, over 5,700 that have gotten some type of alternative or deferred type of. I said over 5,700 that have gotten some type of alternative or deferred. Over 5,700 that have gotten some type of
Did you hear it? So when he's like, I've gotten some type of alternative, let's play it to the end. I'm going to start right from the top and let the whole thing run. Here we go. Then we'll move on to Jussie, who I know you're waiting for me to chat about. Here we go. Everybody, so glad you're here. I'm drinking a protein drink. I know some of you are like, we don't need your ADD moments. Well, this chick has ADD. So if you're going to be here, you're going to have to deal with my ADD moments. You have to deal with every now and then when my friend Bethany writes, because I love her dearly, I'm going to put her up to the phone. Okay? So there you go. There you have it.
Type of.
Let's watch him from the top.
The only reason that it's getting the scrutiny that it is because of who got the disposition. There are plenty of other cases, like I said, over 5,700 that have gotten some type of alternative or deferred type of prosecution.
And then one more down left here. All right, first of all, it doesn't matter how many cases have had some deferred type of prosecution because was the evidence sealed? The big deal here is not so much that Jussie only had to pay 10 grand. They kept the bond money, which is a joke. And then he had to do 2 days of community service at his friend's company. it's ridiculous. He like manned the store and helped do some video editing and video shots and like directing. It's absolutely insane. That's not even the big deal. The big deal is how come all the evidence was shut down? And then the even bigger deal is not only does he pay $10,000, and not only does he do 2 days of community service at his like friend's, company. Forget about that. And forget about the fact that the evidence from the judge seals this, which is insane. The biggest thing for me that like blew my mind is that Jussie has the audacity to hit the mic again and say, I've been telling the truth all along. I knew I'd be, vindicated, whatever it is that he said, that garbage was unbelievable. And I can't wait to pull it apart with you right now. Here he is. All right, everyone do one of these. So when we clap, we're ready to act, okay? If you do a slow one though, it's like evil, like, all right. Do a quick one, here we go. Jussie Smollett. Let's dig in. Short and sweet. I just pulled a little teeny clip of what he said, but we're going to go really deep on it, and it's going to totally blow your mind. You're going to look at your world differently because you're going to start hearing things differently when people speak to you. You think they're saying one thing. Oh no, they're not saying one thing. They're saying something completely different, and your brain is playing a trick on you. And I'm about to give you the antidote to that little trick that keeps happening to you.
I would not be my mother's.
All right, tell me, I want you to grab a pen and a piece of paper. And I'm going to look on Facebook and see if anyone can guess it. So Facebook Live, put your notes right here. Can you guess what is suspicious about either his behavior or his statement or both? Because there's something on both ends, verbally and non-verbally. So here we go. I'm going to give you just a second to get your pen and paper, and then we'll dive in. Here we go.
I would not be my mother's son if I was capable of one drop of what I've been accused of. This has been an incredibly difficult time, honestly, one of the worst of my entire life. But I'm a man of faith, and I'm a man that has knowledge of my history, and I would not bring my family, our lives, or the movement through a fire like this. I just wouldn't. I would not be my mother's son
I'm repeating
if I was capable of one drop of what I've been accused of. This has been an incredibly difficult time, honestly, one of the worst of my entire life. But I'm a man of faith, and I'm a man that has knowledge of my history, and I would not bring my family, our lives, or the movement through a fire like this. I just wouldn't. I would not be my mother's son if I was capable of one drop of what I've been accused of. This has been an incredibly difficult time, honestly, one of the worst of my entire life. But I'm a man of faith, and I'm a man that has knowledge of my history, and I would not bring my family, our lives, or the movement through a fire like this. I just wouldn't.
This guy, I'm launching Celebrity Lie Detector Live at the perfect time in the history of the United States of America, because this stuff does not get any better. I love this guy. I hope he does more interviews, man. All right. So let's see what people said. If you caught it, did you catch it? What he said with A, with his words, B, with his body language. Let's see what happens here. All right. So we have Nini says no eye contact. Again, it's tough when it's an interview where you're talking to everybody. But yes, maybe he's giving, not as much eye contact as someone else. That's not exactly what I'm looking for, but I like that you're guessing and playing here, Nini. Angie, hi, Angie. Head side to side, Yvette Murray. What do you mean by that? Licking the lips. Yes. So we have something else with the lips too. He's got a long blink happening there. He's playing a pity party. We're going to explore that. And boy, I've got someone else that wanted to play a pity party when he got busted in the media for doing something unbelievably scandalous. Came out, wanted to play a pity party, ended up not doing it, and then owned it later when he talked to Oprah Winfrey. So I brought that clip to show next. So I'm glad that Nini's pointing out the pity party. There's no relief for being exonerated. He didn't address the situation directly, but talking around it, nodding head up and down when he said he wouldn't do that. That's right. He's nodding his head yes. You see anger, Diane? What's missing here is anger. So I want you to imagine. So he says, he didn't do any of this stuff, right? He's been telling the truth all along. So I want you to imagine, I say you're a heroin dealer and you killed 4 kids in elementary school. Now there's press outside your family, outside your house. You get fired, you lose your job, you're financially having challenges. Everybody thinks you're the drug dealer that killed all those kids because you sold heroin at the elementary school, and the police arrest you and you're bastard, whatever that word is. You're like dragged through the mud, your career, your family, your friends, your everyone, people who believed you, all of a sudden they're second guessing. And now all the charges are dropped. You were never the drug dealer in the first place. Now, how do you do this press conference? Granted, we're all completely different, but how do you do the press conference? Know what you would do? You would be angry throughout the whole entire thing. Keep in mind, he told us he was a victim of a hate crime. If in fact he was a victim of a hate crime, don't you think he might say something along the lines of, I am being re-victimized here. I'm a victim of a hate crime. I was tortured. I was kicked. I had a noose around my neck. It was one of the hardest things in my life. And now I was re-victimized by the media, by you, by the people that believe nothing. I mean, there's no sadness. There's no anger. Listen, this didn't even happen to me. I'm not even an actress. And I look more like I've been falsely accused than this guy. And he's a professional actor. So we're missing like intense sadness, intense anger. And we're missing what we saw in the attorney's voice, or we heard in the attorney's voice, is that the pain. Where's the pain? I'm not seeing the pain. I'm not seeing the pain. All right, acting, bad acting. Lots of sighing. He doesn't say he's incapable, only that he wouldn't be his mother's son if. All right, Angela. Now we're talking Angela Marie Carter, shaking head. That's right, Sarah. Honestly, we're going to talk about honestly, Charlene Paris, saying I wouldn't, but did he? Look at Amy Glass picking up on it as well. Angela Thorman Lightfoot, his head shaking. No, Bethany, way too many words, and he's not talking about himself normally. Blankless, he pressed his lips together, tightening and licking the lips. We see Valerie weighing in, Yvette Murray nodding yes, shaking his head. I wouldn't be my mother's son, one drop if I was accused, a man of faith. All right, so this is awesome. What movement, Debbie? Debbie, it's like the movement for gender equality and a movement against hate. I believe. Protruding lips for sure, lips gone. Hiding lips, Susan, Paula, Dahlia, you guys are doing great. Charity, thanks for weighing in, everybody here on Facebook Live every Wednesday night between the hours of 10 and 10:30. I start and always goes for an hour and a half, and then I chunk it into smaller chunks and put it on YouTube, where strangers write nasty things, and then I block them from the channel. All right. And for those people who've taken the time to write good things, I'm so excited you're here. So I'm going to focus on you. All right. Here, I'm going to show you a couple things. He also did a tongue protrusion. Do you remember? Did you see it where he did this? He sticks his tongue out. So I'm going to rewind it for you and show you that a little bit. And I want to pull apart his statement. Most importantly tonight is his statement. Body language wise, we see the tongue protrusion. We do see the lips disappear a little bit. The lack of anger and true sadness. It's not there. So if he was falsely accused, where is the emotion? And it's not like this is 10 years later. I mean, this just all went down a couple of weeks ago. Let's look at his statement. Here's what he said. I would not be my mother's son if I were capable of one drop of what I feel like he was going to say what I did, because he stutters here. He goes, I would not be capable of one drop of what I did. And then he goes, he starts, we call it. I would not be capable of one drop of what I did, what I've been accused of. So he does a little hiccup here. The brain doesn't want us to lie. So oftentimes this is, that Freudian slip can come into play. And I think this was a Freudian slip that he just grabbed a hold of and fixed for us. When I rewind it, you'll hear it. One drop of what I've been accused of. This has been an incredibly difficult time. Honestly, one of the worst of my entire life. First of all, we think the whole thing's honest. We're assuming that's honest. But I'm a man of faith. And again, another stop sentence here, or start. And I'm a man who has knowledge of my history. What does that mean? I am a person who has knowledge of my history. That is what's called smoke screening. It's unnecessary words instead of getting straight to the point. I didn't do this. The people lied. They lied. They're liars. I hope the police throw them in jail for life. This is ridiculous. I've told the truth the whole entire time. This has caused me more havoc and more pain. I mean, it's terrible. This is a terrible, terrible denial, and he's still lying. He had an opportunity here to save face, or a little bit at least, and say, listen, I'm going for help. I don't know. I did do this. I can't explain it right now, but I'm going to help. I respect your privacy. I know I owe you an apology. I'll give you the best one I can now. And then I'd love to tell you again, like when I figure this out, I need help. Instead, he was so snooty in his little interview. But I'm a man of faith, and I'm a man who has knowledge of my history, wicked weird. And I would not bring my family, our lives, or the movement through a fire like this. I just wouldn't. Let's see what we see. Let's first look at the red. In the red zones that I have lit up here for you, I would not. So in a paragraph of speaking, so we have a total of 3 sentences. So 4 sentences. So 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences. In 4 sentences, he has 3 I would nots. Truthful people convey information. Liars try to convince us, first of all. Second of all, I would not. I believe him. He would not do it again. He would not do it a second time. He would not do this whole shenanigans a second time, because it's been crazy for him, right? Hell has been raining down on him. So I would not does not mean you did not. So if you ask someone, you ask your kid, have you ever done drugs? And your kid goes, Dad, I would never do that. I would never do that. I would not ever do that. Your kid could have been smoking weed 20 minutes before you asked the question and decided, I'm done with this weed. I'm done smoking weed. So I would not is not past tense. Instead of I didn't do this. I didn't lie to the police. I told the truth. I didn't do any of the things that I have been accused of. Those 16 felony charges that were dropped, they should have been dropped because I didn't do any of those things. They said I lied to police, and I didn't lie to police. I told the truth to the police, boom. But instead, he's telling us this smoke screen of I would not, okay? So we have 3 I would nots. Yeah, we believe you that you would not do it again. As my friend Patricia Townsend said yesterday, she said, yeah, I believe that he wouldn't do it again. So thanks, Patricia. When I was putting this together, she gave me some tips. I'm like, am I on the right track? Because Patricia Townsend is an expert in statement analysis and instructs for me at the Body Language Institute, my 3-day course and 5-day course here in the DC area. If you're interested in finding out more, just put me a message below and I'll tell you about it. I'll tell you how you can find out about it, but this isn't to sell stuff here. All right. I would not be my mother's son. All right. Now let's look at this in the yellow, my mother's son, man of faith, and the movement. In my world, this is called character testimony. So character testimony is when we say, have you ever cheated on me? And your husband's like, no, just ask my friends. Just ask Mike and Steve and Jeff. They'll tell you that I never cheat. Or you say to your kid, do you smoke cigarettes? I'm like, Mom, I would never smoke cigarettes. Just ask Darlene and Kristen and Kerry and Trisha and Diane. They'll all tell you. They'll tell you, Mom, that I don't smoke. And Kerry, ask Kerry Chasen. She'll tell you I don't smoke, Mom. It's called character testimony. It's overselling instead of just simply saying no. And so we have 3 examples in 4 little paragraphs. 3 examples of character testimony. This is like mind-blowing. It is mind-blowing. Very indicative of someone being deceptive, by the way. It just gives us more to analyze. So thank you, Jussie. That's the good part of you getting out and talking to a microphone. Thank you. God is good. All right. Next is down here. Let me move me over here. What I've been accused of. This has been incredibly difficult time. Let's go to honestly here now. Let's take you over to honestly. Honestly. We're assuming that this whole entire statement is honest, right? Isn't that how it works, right? So we assume you're telling us you've been telling the truth all along. So we're assuming that you're telling us the truth. It's unnecessary to add an honestly in the middle of a statement. So if someone adds an honestly or to tell the truth, it should be suspicious to you. One of 2 things. One, either that's the part where they have lied, so they're overselling, trying to convince us. So they'll add to tell you the truth, or honestly, I swear to God, or this is going to sound strange, but I know you're not going to believe me, but I know you're going to think I'm making this up, but it's totally true. I swear to God. Any of this language, whatever comes next, could be of one of 2 things. Either that is the lie in the entire statement, or the rest of the statement is a lie, and that's the only place where there's a truth. So it's one of 2 things. Either that's where the truth is, or that's where the lie is. In this case, I think this is where the truth is. He says, honestly, this is one of the worst of his entire life, worst experiences. I believe you, Jussie. I believe Jussie, right? You believe Jussie? I believe this is one of the worst. I believe he would not do this again. What's missing is I didn't do this. What's missing is anger. What's missing is sadness right here. But I'm a man of faith, start, stop. Now let's play it again and you can see it all come together. The power of secret meaning behind words with statement analysis. Statement analysis created by a guy named Mark McGlish. Google him. He has online training as well. I'm putting together some online training and he's really amazing. You can find him online, Mark McGlish. I think it's McGlish, I think, but you'll have to Google it. All right, here we go. Let's watch this video again. Oh, you saw a sneak peek of who's coming. Look at that, lucky ducks. Here we go.
I would not be my mother's son if I was capable of one drop of what I've been accused of.
You hear that?
This has been an incredible of what I've been accused of, 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 what I've been of what I've been accused, drop of what I've been accused, drop of what I've been accused, drop of what I've been accused of,
just a little hiccup.
One drop of what I've been accused of, one drop of what I've been accused, one drop of what I've been accused, one drop of what I've been accused of.
Lips
This has
in.
been an incredibly difficult time. Honestly, one of the worst.
Lips in. Well, we don't like what we see or hear. Lips disappear. Lips in are called a pacifier. Pacifier is a spike in stress and anxiety, but that could happen anyway because he's doing this press conference, right? So you could have a natural spike of stress, and it could happen because there's deception.
My entire life, but I'm a man of faith. Honestly, one of the worst of my entire life. But I'm a man.
You see the tongue?
But I'm.
See that tongue?
But I'm a man my entire life. But I'm. But I'm. But I'm. But I'm. But I'm a man of faith, and I'm a man that has knowledge of my history, and I would not bring my family, our lives, or the movement through a fire like this. I just wouldn't. I would not be my mother's son.
Okay. Are you Jussied out? I'm a little Jussied out. Let's bounce out of Jussie here over to this guy. All right. This is Dave Letterman. Do you remember this happened a couple of years back? Dave Letterman got in a little trouble. I have no one to blame but myself. David Letterman opens up to Oprah about affairs with female employees. David Letterman blackmail, shocker. Host confesses to affairs after extortion attempt. This guy left a package or a note on David Letterman's car, I believe, if I remember correctly, and wanted a couple $1 million. Letterman admits to having an affair with certain employees, and he was targeted by extortionist who was arrested. And listen what he has to say with Oprah. What he's going to say with Oprah here, I find is fascinating because what David Letterman is going to tell us is what I think Jussie Smollett is doing right now. I think Jussie Smollett is trying to somehow turn the tide and have us feel bad for him. And sadly, I think it's working for some of his closest friends. From according to what my husband told me later this afternoon, people came out that were on the show with him saying, I knew he was telling the truth all along. If I were those people, I might hang on a little longer before you start going to his defense once again, because the only thing it's going to do is hurt your credibility and your judgment of character. So maybe just hang tight, see what happens. According to the reports released this afternoon, the Chicago Police Department turned over the case with regard to did Jussie send himself or hire the two brothers to send him a letter of hate in the mail with like crushed up aspirin to the television station where the show is at. If that is the case, if Jussie was involved, if the FBI, which not able to prove it yet, but there were evidently magazines at the two brothers' houses that had ripped out pages. They're trying to figure out what those pages were, if it matched up with the letters, the cutout letters that were in this threatening letter that was cut out with different letters, like a serial killer note. So they don't have the case. It's not a slam dunk yet. However, if in fact it's determined that Jussie Smollett is linked to this, he could go to jail. Some say 5 to 15 years. I kind of doubt it, but wouldn't it be great if he went to jail just for a little bit, like O.J. Simpson? Remember O.J.? Remember he went to jail years later, just for a little bit.
Is that one of the hardest days of your life when you're standing behind the curtain or wherever you stand before you come out, when you know you're going to now, quote, confess to the country about what has happened?
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. But I will tell you something that in the back of my mind, this give you an idea the extent, the breadth and width of what a weasel I could be.
Mhm.
I was thinking, maybe I can make this. Maybe I can get a little sympathy out of this deal here, you know.
Were you?
Yeah. I think I was probably hoping that, rather than being the actual. The one who was guilty.
Mhm.
I thought maybe I could generate some sympathy. So that's just
How do you
awful.
do
Isn't it?
that?
Yeah. Well,
I want to get in the mindset here. See, this is where I think the mindset of Jussie Smollett is. I think he's literally trying to do what David Letterman thought. Should I try to get some sympathy here? And look at David Letterman here. He's like, yeah, this is how crazy I was. This is how much of a tool, how much of a tool that I was, and owns it. You know, the President Obama wrote a book where he said in the book that he had tried cocaine years earlier. Like, this is the deal. If you just put the truth out there and you're willing to help yourself and you fall on your sword and you're like, listen, this was stupid. This is something I did. I'm only human. I'm asking for your forgiveness. And if it takes forever, then I get it. You know, I am sorry. I really screwed up here. If you just fall on your sword, I believe the world will pound down your door to cheer you on. We pull for people who are trying to become better versions of themselves. We pull for people and cheer people on who are trying to push through adversity. And if Jussie Smollett just came out literally owning it, just owning it. Do you remember who's the, I'll have to talk about her next week. Who's the track star, the female? She took steroids and lied about it. And when it came out and she owned it, she had to give back all the trophies, including, does anyone know? Put her on Facebook. Does anyone remember? No, I have a video clip of her. Her name's escaping me right now, so I'll have to bring it in next week. I'm looking on Facebook Live to see if anyone puts her name here. She had to give back all her trophies. She was a track star. She had little girls. She had kids. No one's coming up on Facebook. All right, let's get out of here. For those of you who are interested, my name is Janine Driver. I'm the human lie detector. I put together this free course on how to decode the truth behind anger. We often will have someone that's angry and they're yelling at us and we come and yell back. But what we don't realize is anger is a secondary emotion to other things like fear and sadness and anxiety. So if you have a son that's suddenly angry, or a spouse that's suddenly angry, or a boss or employee, and they're just always angry and they're always yelling, and you're like, they're so difficult. What is their problem? And you're yelling back. It's likely it's fear, sadness, or anxiety happening. And the problem is you are trying to give the antidote, which is you think you're screaming back is the antidote. And that's not, you're just exasperating the situation. You're actually making it worse. You're making it worse. At the end of the day, people want to feel that they matter and belong. And when they feel that they matter and belong, cooperation will be strong. So when we're hurting, it will often come out as anger. For the men especially, so boys and men and alpha females. This is where we see these three groups, boys, men, and alpha females. They'll often turn to anger when in fact they're terrified and scared. So you want to build stronger, healthier personal and professional relationships, uncover the real issues behind the issues, strengthen struggling relationships, totally free. What you do is you text 96,000, 96000, and you type in the text driver 18 all together. That's my last name, Janine Driver. Driver 18 all together. And within 15 minutes, you'll get me speaking on a stage a couple of months back to a couple thousand people about the secrets behind anger. And I talk about a very famous person that got away with an unbelievable crime. And I'm going to show you this person's eye movements. And I'm going to talk about how does that thread in with the everyday people in your life when they're angry. So everything from the eyes to the lips to the behavior, and what's really the secrets behind that behavior. And what do you do next? What about if it's you? What about if you're just been yelling at everybody? You're like, I'm so angry every single day. Maybe you could ask yourself, what is it that you're afraid to be vulnerable, real, honest with yourself? Is it really that you're anxious? Is it really that you're scared? Is it really that you're nervous or apprehensive? Or is it really that you're sad? You're sad or you're disappointed, and it's coming out as anger to the people that matter the most to you. So let's improve our relationships. And I tell you an unbelievable story that happens. A woman who saw me live at that event came up and told me something that what she learned in this keynote that I'm sharing with you. It's short, it's like 10, 15 minutes. It's easy as ABC 1 through 3. As soon as you watch it, it's going to change your life immediately, just like that. Easy as brushing your teeth. She shared with me what I shared with her just saved her marriage. She literally ran out of the room at the end of my keynote presentation, called her husband, saved her marriage, and I tell you all about it in that class. So my name's Janine Driver, Celebrity Lie Detector Live. I have one more part. If you're hanging in there, hang in. It's a short one. It's only 5 minutes long. Actually, I have 2 little parts, but one's 5 minutes and one is only 1 minute. And the one that's 1 minute is the McCann case. If you follow that, holy smokes. My name's Janine Driver. Thanks for being here every Wednesday night on Facebook Live between the hours of 10 and 10:30. I start and I go for about an hour and a half. Incidentally, after you get my free course on the secrets of lying, this is some other free stuff I'm giving to you. I just threw it in there because I know it can change your life. One is a chapter from my book, You Can't Lie to Me. It's the chapter on microexpressions and how to spot 7 universal emotions: happiness, sadness, fear, surprise, anger, contempt, disgust, especially when they've gone wrong and they're hiding something. How do you spot it and what do you do next? And then how to get people to call you back. Guaranteed. It only works though once per person, but I promise this person will call you back if you follow my techniques in this little handout I put together. My name's Janine Driver. I'm the Celebrity Lie Detector. Thanks for tuning in. Hi, my name's Janine Driver, Celebrity Lie Detector, every Wednesday night on Facebook Live, East Coast time, 10 p.m., 10:30. I start and I go for about an hour and a half. I'm at my house here outside of Washington, D.C. A car just drove by, so I'm looking off in the corner here. And tonight we're going to talk about now Gary Sinise video tribute. Did you see this? Went crazy viral all around the internet this week. But there's something very suspicious. He does a body language move, Gary Sinise, while watching this video that is often connected with people who are lying, who are holding something back. As a matter of fact, it is a body language move I have talked about in the past. This is episode 6 of Celebrity Lie Detector Live. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm so excited you're here. To watch more episodes on YouTube, just type in CLD for Celebrity Lie Detector Live, and my name, Janine Driver, D-R-I-V-E-R. My face is itching here. All right, here we go. Gary Sinise video tribute coming up.